Hey everybody, welcome back to my studio. Today I want to talk about something that affects every business. It affects the photographers that are selling nature and wildlife pictures. It affects photographers who are selling weddings, family pictures, maternity pictures, whatever. It affects people who are selling widgets. It affects people who are selling hamburgers and pizza. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about customer acquisition costs. So what the heck is customer acquisition costs? That is the cost that it costs you as a business to get one new customer. So let's say that you run a restaurant and you advertise on billboards and you advertise on the newspaper and you advertise on social media. All the money that you spend, all the time that it takes you is all added up and then divided by the number of customers that brings in. So let's say you run an ad in the newspaper. And that ad brings in 1,000 customers and the ad cost you $10. Well, hey, that's great. That's amazing. That's fantastic. But let's say that ad actually cost you $1,000, but it only brings you in 10 customers. Well, that's not very good because $1,000 divided by 10 customers, that's $100 per customer. And if you're only selling a product that's worth $1, $2, $5, or $10, you're not making money. So customer acquisition costs can be good if they're low, and they can be bad if they're high. But it's not that simple. Customer acquisition costs can be high for an initial customer, but if they're a repeat customer and they come back again and again and again, and you don't spend any more on getting them to come back, that's a good thing. Perfect example. About 4 months ago, I had a lady come in. She saw my ad in the Yellow Pages. That ad cost me $120 a month to run. If she was the only customer that saw that ad that month, it cost me $120 to get her through the door. Her first visit, she spent $50. So that's not very good. In fact, I lost money on that. The second visit, she spent $200. Well, now she spent $250 with me, and the customer acquisition costs were still that $130. Well, now I'm making some money, but still not very good money because half of what she spent went to that ad. Well, she told her sister about me. Her sister came in and spent several $1,000s. Then that same lady came back and she spent several $1,000s. And then her neighbor came in and she spent a few $100s. And then the sister came back and spent another $1,000. Well, all of a sudden, that customer acquisition cost that started out to be insanely high, all of a sudden became affordable. And by the time it was all said and done, it was under 5% of what their sales were. And that's a good thing. What do I strive for? I strive for under 10%. Ideally lower, but I don't like to go above 10%. Now, how do you get it low? Well, first of all, you target your customers. There's no sense me targeting on Facebook, on Instagram for my photography printing to people who live in Ontario, people who live in Australia, people who live in New York, people who live in China, because I know they're not going to use my business. So there's no sense running ads that target them. There's no sense wasting time online or whatever trying to target people who don't live nearby. So you keep your target to the people that you want to come in or you know will come in. My nature and wildlife prints, I know I have customers around the world. So to me, it doesn't hurt to have ads or things that run around the world because I know that I could get customers from there. But for my printing, it's just a waste of money. If you do photography, if you do weddings, if you shoot weddings only in your town, you should be marketing completely to the people in your town. You should not be marketing to people 5 hours away if you don't do weddings there. If you sell hamburgers, there's no sense trying to sell hamburgers to somebody that lives 3,000 miles away from you because they're not going to come in. So don't waste your time. So target your marketing to the people that are going to use your services. The next thing is, there's no sense trying to use a media to get people in if they're not going to look at that media. Perfect example. Most of my restorations, most of my copy prints from slides, from negatives, from prints are all done by people over the age of 60. They're not on Instagram. They're not on Facebook. They're not on TikTok. They're not on LinkedIn. Where do I get them from? I get them from the Yellow Pages. So to run an ad in the Yellow Pages gets me customers. To run an ad on YouTube, trying to promote my restoration services, and I know that I may be lucky in a year to get one customer. Maybe. So don't waste your money trying to target your customers with something they're not going to see. Does no good to try to sell weddings to a 70-year-old, but you want to sell weddings to somebody who's 18 or 20. There's no good trying to sell grad pictures to somebody who's 35. You want to try to sell those to somebody that's 17 or 18. So pick your targets, pick your market, and target them. The next thing, once you get a customer, keep that customer. Now, there's sometimes you're going to want to get rid of a customer. If a customer's rude, if a customer's costing you more than they're spending, you don't want to keep those. But for most customers, you want them to come back. So you give them a business card. You give them marketing material. You put them on your email list. You put them on a flyer list and you send them out a flyer. You do many different things to keep those customers. Why? Because that drops your customer acquisition cost as they use you for more and more services. And this is a big area that photographers don't understand, especially wedding photographers and family photographers. They get a customer. It costs them $100 to get the customer. They sell the customer $1,000 worth of stuff. They give them the digital files and they're gone. Well, why would that customer ever come back to you? You've done the pictures, you've given them the digital files, and they're out the door. They're gone. They're not coming back to you for anything. Why not sell them prints? Guess what? All of a sudden, they come back to buy prints from you. You don't need to make a huge markup on the prints. You don't need to go insane. But if you sell prints, they're coming back. If you're doing a wedding, promote your maternity pictures. If you're doing a graduation, promote your wedding pictures. If you're doing a wedding, promote your family pictures. Because guess what? Some of the people at the wedding aren't going to want pictures from the wedding when they're dressed all up. They're going to want more informal family pictures. So promote stuff like that. Use the shoots that you have to get more business. If you're selling nature and wildlife prints, send out a coupon. Buy another one within the next 6 months and get 10% off or get free shipping. Or buy 2 of the same prints, one for you, one for a gift, and get 25% off of the second print. There's lots you can do to drop your customer acquisition costs. So please, when you get a customer, keep the customer and try to target where the customers are and what the customers are looking at. So until next time, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.